true when the growth look good on you. Best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in.
What's going on, people? What's going on? It's G. We are back in the building. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you share and subscribe to the damn channel. Big up to everybody. I'm actually re-recording this because I realized obviously on my clock video is a little bit choppy and stuff like that. So hopefully this one is better, and I hope there's no problems with all of this, guys. As I said before, make sure you smash that like button. You guys already know during the summer, of course, it's going to be the Euros. I'm going to be following England, doing match previews. They've got a couple friendlies coming up. So, we'll talk about that. Of course, yes, as you can see in the caption, the provisional squad is now out as well. So, gonna just take a look at that. Some players that I think, okay, yeah, this guy is the guy, and that one maybe might go. There's a couple surprises that have been, put into the squad by Gareth Southgate, which I know quite a lot of us are, we're kind of shocked by. You know what I mean? Because Gareth Southgate isn't a guy who does surprises. Usually we know like certain players are always gonna be there, in these squads. So, we'll take a look at that, and then I'll kind of give you my opinion on the squad, but also the players I think he will take with him. It's a 33-man provisional squad, and then it gets whittled down to 26. I believe in June the 6th or the 8th or something like that. Of course, before the tournament. So, as you guys can, of course, you can see that we've got the goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and forwards. Interesting, some of the players in certain positions, like Trent Alexander-Arnold is now being considered as a midfielder. Jude Bellingham's now being considered as a forward. It's all crazy, but let's just kind of get into it. You guys can, of course, you can see, Dean Henderson, Pickford, Ramsdale, and Trafford are the goalkeepers who have been picked. Defenders, Branthwaite, Lewis Dunk, Gomez, Gay, Ezri Quansah, Maguire, Jarrell Quansah, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Trippier, and Kyle Walker. The midfielders we can see is Trent, Conor Gallagher, Curtis Jones, Kobe Mainoo, Declan Rice, Adam Wharton. And then the forward line you can see is Jude Bellingham, Jarrod Bowen, Eze, Foden, Grealish, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, James Maddison, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins. So, as we already know, there's a few absentees, from that list. As I mentioned, there's no Marcus Rashford, there's no Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips. Luke Shaw has actually been added to the squad, which I was quite surprised about, considering his injury record over the last, 3 or 4 seasons. But he continuously keeps making these squads. But at the same time, we don't really have any other left back. So where I understood it on one side, on the flip side, I am a little bit like, he wouldn't necessarily be my starting, left back, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But again, we'll wait and see. And it won't surprise me, by the way, if he is, in the squad. Now, Adam Wharton, Crystal Palace midfielder. He's obviously been included in the provisional squad. I think that's really good. It's more, I guess, more probably like a testament to his performances this season. Since he signed for Palace in January, and he must have really impressed. I mean, he's impressed me, to be fair. I didn't think he would take to the Premier League as quickly as he did. I think obviously what's helped Crystal Palace, and Palace have got a couple players in here, in the England provisional squad, Eze being the other one. But what's helped them is obviously the new manager coming in, Palace finishing up in 10th position. You can kind of see the football that they're playing. You can see the confidence levels of some of these players. And Adam Wharton, I just think that, since he's come in, signed from Blackburn, he was good at Blackburn as well. I just didn't think he'd be this good, in terms of, he just seems to have taken it like a duck to water, to be honest with you. And that's surprised me, and testament to him. Because he looks like a really neat player, box-to-box midfielder. He will get himself about the pitch, in terms of getting in these crunch tackles, comfortable in possession, positionally really, really good, understands, the game. He seems like he can read the game really well, knows when to go, knows when to stay. Clearly he's got a decent enough relationship with the midfielders at Palace, Will Hughes, Schlupp, and whoever else is going to be, in there. And again, it just seems like maturity from some of these young players is something that, again, we'll speak about, with the other players that we'll take a look at. And I'm not surprised. Well, I am a little bit surprised that he's been kind of put in. But then when I look at the situation that England have with the midfield area, I am a little bit like, oh, okay, you know what? Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Now, let's take a look at another. So, of course, we've got here Jarell Quansah, Liverpool defender, played really good this season. Again, another player who surprised me, man. I love it when, like, people always say I'm always harsh with, like, or I critique, quite a lot with certain players and stuff like that. But that's because, I feel like with some players I can see potential, and we've all got a standard that we try to hit. But I love it when there's players who just surprise you, because you're just like, right, I didn't even know that this guy was good, or not even that I didn't think they were good. It's just more, you didn't think they would get to this level. And it's not easy. Listen, I'm not exactly playing Premier League football. I'm out here talking to you guys. But at the same time, when you see these kind of things, and you can see certain players, Adam Wharton, taken to the Premier League, you can see Quansah taken to the Premier League, Europa League, and actually becoming a fixture in Liverpool side, playing alongside a Virgil van Dijk, and not looking out of place, especially in a team that concedes a lot of chances, defensively not really stable. He looks calm, which is so crazy to think, in terms of how Liverpool play and stuff like that. But again, testament to him, big up to Jarell Quansah every single time, for being able to make, that England squad. And I mean, when you're looking at the centre-back situation, again, could he potentially sneak himself in? Would have to, of course, wait and see. Next up, of course, as I mentioned before, the other Palace player in the squad, we've got Eze. I big up Palace every time, and I know I always joke with people about this whole Palace situation, but ultimately you have to big up Palace every single time. When it comes to the sheer fact that they are getting a couple players within their squad. They are within the England squad. They are getting players who are good enough to play for England, and they're performing really, really well. And that's why I have to big them up every single damn time. Because it's just testament again to that team. Eze can play centre mid, can play attacking mid, can play left wing, of course behind the striker. Heck, false nine if you need him to. Will this be the kind of utility player that potentially Gareth Southgate will look to think, okay, this might be the guy that I might just need just to be able to, would I say, somewhat come in certain situations? Maybe, we'll talk about that in a minute. And the other one was obviously Curtis Jones. He probably deserved the call up. I know he got himself injured just before one of the last international breaks. He got himself injured, so I think he would have been called up then, maybe alongside Eze. I think they both would have been called up, but he deserves it. In terms of, I guess Gareth Southgate is just looking at it in terms of performances over the last, say, since the back end of the 22-23 season. Even though Liverpool were poor that season, he came in towards the end really good. Started this season, quite strong. Been a bit of a mismatch season. And guys, make sure you check out my, Liverpool player ratings where I talk about that. But ultimately, when we are looking at, someone like a Curtis Jones, I understand why he's in there, in terms of the position he plays. He can play in that central midfield position, can play out wide if you need him to. Very good at ball retention. He's someone that may be in a possession-based game. And this is why I always say it'll be so interesting to see when the new manager comes in for Liverpool, what his kind of role within the team is going to be. Because if they turn into more of a possession-based team, he's a really good player, who could potentially, make that next step up. And I think that's where I'm looking for Curtis Jones now, is like, okay, I know it's only really been, would we say, somewhat a season. And again, it's another season where injuries have played a factor. But ultimately, can we see you make that step up? Can we see you go to the next level? I think there is a player in there. I've always liked him since the youth days. I honestly didn't think he would be able to make it at Liverpool. Thought he could make it anywhere else, but just not at Liverpool because of the way our structure was set up under Jurgen Klopp. But Klopp's not here anymore. So maybe now we're going to see the real best of someone, like a Curtis Jones. So, as I mentioned before, looking at the squad and stuff like that, I've kind of just like designed the team, or the squad, should I say, into like 2 11s, which obviously be 22 players, and then an extra 4 players, who I think may potentially make the squad, or who I would like to see make the squad. And then, of course, we've got the players who are going to, ultimately, miss out. So this is the first squad that I've kind of put up here. We've got Jordan Pickford in goal, Carl Walker at right back. I think that's going to be the play. And to be honest, I can't see why it wouldn't be. Got John Stones again if he's fit and whatever. I know that him and Maguire, and Maguire's a certainty regardless anyway. He's always in the squad. But I think if Stones is fit, I think he starts at centre back. I've gone with Joe Gomez at left back though. Like I said, Luke Shaw for me, he doesn't even deserve to really even be there. I'll be so honest. But then again, the options are either him, Luke Shaw, or Kieran Trippier. Did you get what I'm trying to say? And I'll be honest, I'd rather Gomez over Trippier every day of the week if we're talking about left back positions. So I definitely would go with that. You've got Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. Again, I've just put it in this 4-2-3-1, but it can be a 4-3-3. I don't want anyone to cry about it. Don't focus so much on the actual, position. Although I saw something come out today in regards to Jude Bellingham that, once Toni Kroos actually leaves Real Madrid, Jude Bellingham might actually play in a deeper role. So maybe we'll see a different Jude Bellingham. Maybe this season was the anomaly for him where he scored all these goals and the positions he was taking up further forward, false nine kind of role. Maybe now we'll actually start seeing him in this position. Will he be able to adapt to that? Will he be able to play that and make that his position where he becomes this what we think he's going to become, which is the world-class player? Be so interesting to see with someone like Jude Bellingham, because I feel like this will kind of make or break. This will this will kind of decide. He can't ride the wave of this 1 year for too long. He's going to have next season. If he does play in a deeper role, yeah, people are going to expect just because of the season you've had this year. We're not expecting you to score goals, of course, if you're not in the position to do so. But we're going to expect you to be able to, give the same level of performances. We've got Saka, Foden, and Anthony Gordon. Again, can have Jack Grealish there. I think both of those will be a certainty. With no Marcus Rashford, I think Anthony Gordon is a shoo-in. I would like to see him, at the Euros, so I can't see why that would be too much of a problem. As I said, you've got Jack Grealish there. He's going to go. Saka, of course, on that side. And then, of course, you've got Harry Kane up top. If you go to like the second squad or like the next 11, shall we say, so to speak. So again, Aaron Ramsdale, I think he'll go. Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, he will go. Kieran Trippier, again, I'm like, okay, I don't know with his injuries and stuff. I don't know what that's looking like. That's where I'm like, But then if it's a choice between him and Shaw, I mean, I'd just pick Trippier, to be honest with you. Someone who could play left back, right back, deliveries on point. That's a weapon for you to have. But again, maybe just wants a bit of balance, having an actual left footer on that side. I get it. I'm not going to sit and act like I'm going to be mad about it, but I would understand. I've gone for Gay and Branthwaite at centre backs. Gay, because I think, he's a leader at Crystal Palace and comfortable in possession. He can pick out a pass. He's comfortable coming out from the back, strong, quick. I can't see why you wouldn't want someone like that, as another centre-back option. And then Branthwaite, again, Everton, behind David Raya for Arsenal. I think Everton had the next best clean sheets in the Premier League. I feel like you have to pick Branthwaite. He's a threat in the opposition box, comfortable coming out with the ball again. And he's an astute defender. I feel like even in his 1v1 duels, and I'm watching him, I'm like, he really knows how to defend. Positionally, he understands the game really, really well. I would pick him. So hopefully we see him. Midfield, I think Conor Gallagher's going to go. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like he will go. James Maddison, again, I feel like he will go. Curtis Jones is someone I think he should be bringing with him. Again, I'm looking at, these are like the bench players and stuff like that. I'm just thinking about, if we need a game where it's more possession based, will you maybe play Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Curtis Jones type of midfield, where you're not necessarily looking for, you can have someone, one of them could break lines if you need them to, and I think Jones can do that, and he's good at drifting out wide. But if we need to just keep possession, if we need to just keep hold of the ball, gain some control in the middle area, I feel like Jones would be someone who'd be perfect, for that kind of role. So why not? And then, of course, I've gone with Ollie Watkins. I think he has to go. He's definitely ahead of Tony for basing on this season. Jack Grealish, as I said, he'll go. And then I've gone with Bowen. Now, it's a toss-up between Bowen and Palmer. I think Bowen is obviously more integrated into the England squad. And I feel like Gareth Southgate, that's the kind of thing that he will think about. Because sometimes when I've looked at his picks, when I've tried to analyze, like, sometimes some of the players that he picks, he usually will pick a player who's more integrated into that England squad over someone else, unless that someone else is having a blinder of a season, entering Cole Palmer. That's why I'm like, I'm not mad at either or, to be honest with you. I do still feel that Bowen is more of a threat. He can play up front as well. So potentially you may not even need to then bring a third striker if you don't really want to. And having that option of someone who can play kind of across the front three, as opposed to Palmer only really being able to play on that right wing. Palmer's had a fantastic season, you know, and deserved all the accolades that he's, you know, gotten this season as well. I'm not trying to just, you know, diminish anything he's done. I really like Cole Palmer. I just think I don't know how close he would be to making that full England squad. But again, I wouldn't be mad at either or in this kind of situation. But listen, this is the beef that Gareth Southgate is going to have to deal with. And then the last four players, the other goalkeeper I've gone with is Trafford over Dean Henderson. I've gone with Lewis Dunk. I've gone with Lewis Dunk purely before the aerial threat. That's why I've gone with him. Again, I feel like in tournament football, you need more than one way to win a game. If you can't play your scintillating best, which England rarely ever do, you need other options. So corners, you know what? Throw Lewis Dunk on. You've got Harry Maguire, you got John Stones, you got all of these other guys. Okay, put them on. We need some more height in the box. Or we're defending a lead. We need that kind of more of assurance because the other team are constantly, you know, throwing crosses in and stuff like that. Lewis Dunk, and again, comfortable in possession, you know, so to speak, you know, because of the way he plays at Brighton and stuff like that. So yeah, he's the one I thought about. The other one was Kobbie Mainoo. The only reason why I picked Kobbie Mainoo was purely because I feel like, and I'm not saying that they are the same player, so to speak, but I feel like Kobbie Mainoo would be a good enough option if you were then trying to look at, I need to take Jude Bellingham off, but I need to keep what Jude Bellingham does on the field. So what I mean by that is someone who can progress the play, someone who can get us up the pitch, someone who can keep the ball when I need him to keep the ball, but is still able to get us up the pitch. You can see a pass when I need him to see a pass and doesn't seem to wilt under pressure, you know, in and around the box and stuff like that. And also has that mature head. I'm asking for a lot. And Kobbie Mainoo is not obviously at the level of a Jude Bellingham. Of course not. But from what I've seen of him this season, again, like I was saying, I need people to understand. I'm not saying that he's I don't want to say like a direct replacement for a Bellingham, but I feel like he can match in terms of the attributes that he has, what Bellingham can bring you on the pitch. But I've seen Bellingham in games and he's like tired. And when Bellingham's tired and he's just jogging around the pitch and whatnot, he's just a wasteful player. Bring on someone who can do what you need Bellingham to do, but is more fresher. I feel like Kobbie Mainoo can do that. And that's why I've gone, you know, with him in there. And then, of course, Ivan Toney. Penalties. You need penalties, you bring Ivan Toney. Of course, he's a good striker as well. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But of course, if we're just basing off this season, it would be Watkins I would pick ahead of him. But at the same time, like I said, Ivan Toney, man, I like those penalties. Yeah, you're bringing him on. I don't care what anybody says. Gareth Southgate best bring him on when England, if England ever gets penalties. And then the ones I think will miss out, like I said, I've got Cole Palmer there. But it could be Palmer, or it could be Bowen. So we'd have to wait and see. I don't think Adam Wharton. But then again, Adam Wharton, Conor Gallagher, hey, something might happen. Something might happen. You know what I mean? But I just don't really see it. Jarell Quansah, I don't really know. Again, I think Branthwaite and Mark Gahey, I just think that they're more integrated within the squad, how Gareth Southgate wants to play and stuff like that. So I do believe that they would probably get that chance. I think there was Quansah as well. I didn't put Quansah on here, but Quansah as well potentially won't make the squad. I don't think. Ezri Quansah, like I remember he played over Joe Gomez in one of, I think it's the last international break, but I didn't really understand that because I felt like why not? But I think I understood. Then I got it because he was playing at right back, and I was like, okay, Joe Gomez has been playing at left back. That's why I believe Gomez will 100% go, because whatever happens, you're going to need another left back regardless of anything. And he's at minimum, he's the second choice left back if everybody's fit. But Luke Shaw I've got there as well, because I don't know this injury record, man. Like I really don't know what's going to, what it is, what's going to happen, etc., etc. So again, have to wait and see. And then Eze again, maybe if he doesn't take someone else, then maybe Eze obviously will be the option. I just don't think, again, maybe just too soon. It's like literally just too soon. Next tournament, though, all of these players, Palmer definitely in the next tournament. Obviously, if he keeps up, maintains these levels. Adam Wharton definitely, I think, could be in the next tournament again. If they keep up this kind of performance levels, and once they start getting into like friendlies and getting again, but England have got 2 friendlies coming up. So for all I know, these guys might all impress. They might all impress, and all of a sudden, Gareth Southgate saying, you know what, actually, maybe I'll actually bring him instead, because he seems like he has a great connection with such and such. So if I can see that here, maybe we can use that, to our advantage, in the tournament. So yeah, that's kind of, how I've gone with it. That's kind of my thinking, behind it. So yeah, I'll read it out again. So I've gone with Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, and James Trafford, Jared Branthwaite, Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Mark Gay, Maguire, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Carl Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Conor Gallagher, Jones, Mainu, Rice, Jude Bellingham, Bowen, Foden, Grealish, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, James Maddison, Saka, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins. So let's wait and see. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen. As I said, guys, make sure you stay tuned as well. I know there was a few players, people talk about Harvey Elliott. I feel like Harvey Elliott could only have come in if like you didn't pick like a Cole Palmer. Like I feel like where else would you realistically put him in the squad? And then maybe if in Gareth Southgate's eyes, someone like a Kobe Mainoo's ahead of him, again, I just listen, Harvey Elliott's been like solid, so to speak, this season, more off the bench, but he's been solid. Again, check out my player ratings because that's why I talk about it. But yeah, I just don't think he's that. I don't think he's as close as the rest of these guys on here. Maybe if you didn't pick Adam Wharton, but then Adam Wharton can play, in that kind of midfield. He's a proper central midfielder. Harvey Elliott isn't really that, so I can understand, as to why potentially he might not, fit into that. But yeah, no Marcus Rashford. I understand it. Had a poor season. Anthony Gordon's had a really good season. He's got Jack Grealish there as well. James Maddison sometimes will play out there on the left. Sorry, Marcus. It's just one of those kind of things. Like, I don't need Marcus if I've got Anthony Gordon. I'll be so honest with you. Like, why would I need the two of them? Kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's a good choice. Henderson, we don't need to talk more on him. Calvin Phillips, again, another one. Raheem Sterling, again, they've been poor for a couple of seasons now. So yeah, I understand the ones that he didn't bring. For the first time in ages, I fully understand the ones that he didn't bring. So I'm not even looking at it thinking, oh, that squad looking kind of dead. Like, he actually picked a squad where I feel like the majority of the players, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like this squad. Do you know what I mean? So again, we'll wait and see, and make sure you guys, of course, you just stay tuned. I'll be doing previews to their 2 games against Bosnia and I think it's Iceland, maybe. I know they've got 2 fixtures, can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe it's those 2. And then, of course, I'll be covering them throughout the Euros, their progress. Please, England don't get knocked out. But if they do get knocked out, then we'll just still kind of follow and just kind of do like an overview in terms of the actual tournament itself. Make sure you guys smash that like, share, and subscribe. We out.